France is one of the most amazing countries for gastronomy, including incredible farmhouse and artisan cheeses that have inspired the rest of the cheesemaking world. Today, I'd like to walk you through our Jolie French cheese selection, which contains some classics and some slightly off the beaten track amazing cheeses from France. So, my name is Svetlana and I'm the founder of The Cheese Lady. Without further ado, let's dive right in. So the first cheese contained in our Jolie French selection is Deliss Cremier. Delice Cremier is a creamy, soft cheese from Burgundy in France, and it's made with pasteurized cow's milk and traditional rennet. On the outside, you will see that it has this bloomy white rind, which will remind you probably of the French classics like Brie and Camembert. But inside you will see that the texture is much more dense. It's not runny, it's not bulgy, it's more like butter. And the reason for that is that this cheese belongs to the triple cream category. During the cheese making process, they enrich the milk with double cream, and that makes it a triple cream. And as a result, on the palate, it's very dense, it's very luxurious, it's very buttery, absolutely phenomenal. And if you want to take your enjoyment of Delice to another level, I would like to recommend that you have it with a little bit of bubbles. So if you have a bottle of champagne, cava or prosecco, do pair Delice with some of that. You will have a phenomenal experience. So Delice Cremier from Burgundy. Then we go to French Comté, which is in the east of France, a nice mountainous region dominated by the Jura Mountains. And there we have Morbier. Morbier is a semi-firm raw cow's milk cheese made with traditional rennet. It's got a washed rind, and the signature color of washed rinds is orange. So that's why this lovely bright rind. And if you have a little sniff, you'll see it has a little bit of pungency, and that's another signature of washed rind cheeses. And another memorable feature about Morbier is that inside it has this line, and a lot of people confuse it with blue mold, which it is not. It is vegetable ash. It's there for traditional historical reasons. Back in the day, when they used to have some curd left at the end of cheese making day, it wasn't quite enough to fill the whole form, and they would put it on the bottom of the form and cover it with some soot to prevent from flies landing on there. And next cheese making day, they would fill the hoop, fill the mold with more curd, and that's how the line appeared there in the first place. But these days they just replicated with some vegetable ash, and hence why we have that line there. It doesn't give it any flavor whatsoever. But speaking of flavor, Morbier is lovely and creamy and buttery, a touch farmyardy, a little bit nutty, very, very crowd pleasing cheese. It is a star on the cheese board, but you can also melt it in things like raclette. So a wonderful, wonderful cheese. On to our third cheese, and for this one we are going to the French Pyrenees, so very south of France. This cheese is called Ossau-Iraty. The Pyrenees are dominated by sheep. There's lots of different sheep's milk cheeses from the Pyrenees, but this is the granddaddy of them all. This is the one that you really must try first before you explore further. Ossau-Iraty is made with pasteurized used milk and traditional rennet. It's got a natural rind on the outside, which you can potentially eat if you don't mind it being a little bit moldy, because this cheese spent quite a few months in the cellar. But it's a natural rind. There's nothing that's going to harm you. And inside you will see the paste is slightly ivory comparative to the golden color in, for instance, Morbier, and that's a signature of sheep's milk cheeses. You will also see that it's got this lovely smooth paste, and you'll see that on the palate as well when you try the cheese. And very soothing, nutty, caramelly, gentle notes, and just a whisper of salt. Absolutely a fantastic cheese. And if you have to pair it with just one wine, I do recommend going with a nice not too full of bodied red, and that's a fantastic pairing. Ossau-Iraty, be sure to give it a try. And our final fourth cheese is a Bleu, of course. We like to finish on the big note, and this is Bleu de Causses, and it's from the area called actually Causses, and it's a pasteurized cow's milk cheese made with traditional rennet, and needless to say it's a Bleu, and it may remind you of another famous French Bleu, the Roquefort, but the difference here that it's made with cow's milk. You will see that the color is much more golden compared to the famous Roquefort, but in terms of strength it's very similar to Roquefort. It's complex, it's powerful, and if you would like to pair it with a wine, I do recommend pairing it with a sweet white wine like a Montbazillac or Sauterne. Phenomenal cheese. I hope you will give it a try. And in terms of complementing this cheese board, a light buttery cracker would be great and would work across the board, and Morbier, which are the condiments that we include in the Jolie French selection. In terms of wine, I do recommend going with something classic like white Burgundy or a classic Bordeaux, and as I've mentioned, for Delice especially, I do recommend some bubbles. I do hope you enjoy our French Jolie selection and have a great time with it.